What is going on, everyone? This is Eric coming at you from just outside of Hartford, Connecticut. And today, as of 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the 2021 NFL season officially begins. Now, this video is going to be discussing the trades that have happened between the conclusion of the 2020 season and today, as of 3 p.m. on March 17th, 2021. So if any trades happen between 3 and 4 p.m. on this day, they will be discussed in a future video. We are also going to look at the players who have officially announced their retirement that are relevant. So without further ado, we'll jump in and we'll look at these videos. We're not going to go into extreme detail on them all, so of course we had the big blockbuster was the Matthew Stafford Jared Goff trade. So the Rams would receive quarterback Matthew Stafford from Detroit in exchange for quarterback Jared Goff, as well as a 2021 third round pick, the 88th overall selection, and a pair of first rounders in 2022 and 2023. This was the biggest trade of the offseason up to this point. Obviously, a pair of number one overall picks changing teams, both quarterbacks. Very surprising. We knew Goff was probably on his way out, and then we got the notifications, oh yeah, Stafford's probably going to leave Detroit. So everyone was surprised to see this big of a trade happen, but we'll see. If I had to pick a winner for this trade, I do think the winner is going to be Matthew Stafford. I mean, he has a team now in LA. We'll have to see what happens. There's a lot of potential things that could happen with this team, but he does have a good receiving core, and he has a solid O-line now. He has a good young run game. I do think Stafford's the big winner of this trade. Then we have keeping in mind, Goff was the 2016 first overall pick. We have the trade that involves the 2016 second overall pick, as the Indianapolis Colts receive quarterback Carson Wentz from the Eagles in exchange for a 2021 third-round pick, the 84th overall pick, as well as a 2022 conditional first or second-round pick. So, obviously, Carson Wentz, he needed to get out of Philadelphia. It was clear the fans didn't want him there anymore. Some of the fans didn't want him there anymore. And it was clear that he was just done with the team. He was fed up with all this stuff that was going around being said. So he needed to go. Indianapolis is a good place. It reunites him with Frank Reich, who, of course, was his offensive coordinator his rookie year and then his second year, which they won the Super Bowl. So it's going to be exciting for Carson Wentz to have himself a new opportunity, a new team, a new city. Now, the Eagles, they take a huge cap hit for the 2021 season, but they do get another draft pick, which is going to help them for their future. And the big thing is that 2022 conditional, it is the second rounder right now, but if Wentz plays something like 80% of the snaps and the Colts make the playoffs, or if 85% of the snaps, if he plays 85% of the Colts offensive snaps, then it becomes a first round pick. So we'll have to see. Obviously, it's an interesting trade. It really is going to turn into a salary dump for the Eagles right now, but potentially getting a first round pick and a third round pick for Wentz in that big contract, we'll have to see. Then we have the Falcons. They would receive tight end Lee Smith from the Bills in exchange for a 2022, quote, late round pick. So obviously we have no idea what the Bills are getting out of this. It's probably going to be a 7th round pick. It's honestly probably going to be a conditional 7th round pick. So if Smith doesn't make the roster, nothing comes of it. Atlanta's getting a serviceable tight end 2 at best, 3 at worst. So can't go wrong with that. I mean, Lee Smith's been around for a while now. We'll have to see if anything really crazy comes of it. Then we have another very surprising trade that saw the Miami Dolphins acquire 2020 first-round pick offensive tackle Isaiah Wilson, as well as a 2022 7th-round pick from Tennessee, in exchange for only a 2021 7th-round pick, which we don't know the exact number, but it's probably going to be 230, if I had to guess. So Isaiah Wilson, very interesting story. He was a really good player in college. Okay, there's a reason Tennessee had no problem drafting him first round last year. The problem is he only appeared in 3 or 4 snaps period during his rookie year. He had a lot of problems off the field, on the field. He contracted a certain viral disease that's been going around, and of course, he wasn't great. He got arrested, or he got warned, I should say. He got thrown off of a campus and was charged with trespassing after he tried to engage in a fight or something like that. Miami's taking a big risk, a big chance on a character concern, but if Wilson pans out, it's a really good thing, because you very well could be getting a better draft pick than the one that you give away for him. So it's probably more of a salary dump for the Titans at this point, and just clear house, get rid of him. New England would receive offensive tackle Trent Brown and a 2022 7th-round pick from the Las Vegas Raiders in exchange for a 2022 5th-round pick. A little surprised by this trade, in all honesty. The Raiders, I don't know why they did this. The Patriots, they get Trent Brown back. He was their right tackle back in 2018 for a little while, for a few years. He's a really good run blocker, so New England's going to welcome him back. He's a pretty good acquisition, especially only giving up, essentially trading a 5th for a 7th for him. That's well worth it in my opinion. Plus, I don't know how the Raiders are going to do next year. I'm sure the Patriots will be borderline playoffs. So then we have another trade that recently came out with the Miami Dolphins acquiring linebacker Benardrick McKinney, as well as a 2021 7th-round pick, which is believed, I would have to say, to be the 229th pick from the Houston Texans in exchange for defensive end Shaq Lawson and a 2021 6th-round pick, which is either going to be 201 or 206. So basically, this was an interesting move. I don't know why the Dolphins did it, because now they don't really have a good edge rusher, another good edge rusher alongside Emmanuel Ogbah. But still, I mean, you're getting a really good tackler in McKinney. McKinney is definitely better than Lawson at this point, at least on the field. I do like McKinney a lot. He's a good pickup for Miami. Lawson's a really good pickup for Houston. He really has looked good at times. He was a 1st-round pick from Buffalo a few years back. So he's on a cheaper contract. If he can play well, he's a really good pickup for Houston. And then, of course, the draft picks, just some late picks swapped. Then we have the LA Rams acquiring a 2023 7th-round pick from the Detroit Lions in exchange for defensive tackle Michael Brockers. Very surprised that this is all it costs to get Brockers. I think Brockers is going to step in and play nice in Detroit. I think that's a really good, underrated addition to that team. So hopefully Detroit can treat him well, but we'll have to see with Brockers. I could be completely off. Brockers could be horrible now. There could be a reason the Rams are letting him go for a second time. We'll have to see. I do think it's a sneaky good trade for Detroit, though. Of course, another trade that recently came out was the Jaguars acquiring defensive tackle Malcom Brown from the Saints for, quote, unspecified draft pick, end quote. Obviously, no idea what the heck the Saints are getting from this, but the Jaguars are getting a not spectacular, but a solid, defensive tackle, good veteran. I think he's getting like $5 million a year, so, I mean, they're taking a little bit of a hit for that, but can't go wrong. And then the last trade that we're going to discuss saw the Houston Texans acquire offensive tackle Marcus Cannon, as well as the 2021 4th, 5th, and 6th round picks from New England in exchange for 2021 4th, 5th, and 6th round picks. So it's a little weird. As you can see, we don't know which 4th and 6th round picks the two teams are going to swap, because essentially what it is they're going to swap picks. So obviously, New England's probably going to be getting picks, if I had to guess, 109 for 139 in the 4th round, but I don't know for a fact. I'm just sure that they're not going to be getting 122 for 120, because that wouldn't make sense. So that's what, if I had to guess. The 5th round pick is going to be 147 going to New England, 158 going to Houston, and then the 6th round pick, I'm not even going to try to get into that. You can just see there's a bunch of different numbers there for the two teams. So the big name, of course, is Marcus Cannon going to Houston. Basically, Cannon takes over, or Brown's going to take over for Cannon. It's an interesting move. Marcus Cannon opted out of the 2020 season. He did have non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, I'm pretty sure it was, during his rookie year. So he had a good reason to opt out of the 2020 season. But he hasn't gone to the Patriots' practice facilities yet. So, of course, I feel like the Patriots are a little skeptical of him. They might think it's time to just trade him. He had a good run in New England, though. You can't go wrong with that. He was there for 8-9 years. They're hoping that Brown could take over the spot for Cannon, but Brown hasn't really been a right tackle before, so we'll have to see. Good acquisition by Houston. They're just trying to hope to keep, Sean Watson at bay. So now we have the known retirements, and it's not a spectacular list, but there are some key names on it. So we have a trio of quarterbacks in Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers, and Matt Schwab. Of course, in the future, Drew Brees and Phillip Rivers will probably get a video looking at the two of them, how their careers went, compared to one another. It's kind of tough to compare, but you know what I mean by that. Schwab, he was a good backup. He was an okay starter, but he really hung around the league for a while as a backup. Fullback Patrick DeMarco, not a horrible player. You know, fullbacks don't get a lot of love. Then we got a trio of tight ends. The older Jason Witten, who, you know, retired allegedly after the 2017 season, spent 2018 working as an announcer. Then he came back for 2 years. You know, good for him. Good to see him retire. Vance McDonald, that one really surprised me. He's only 30 years old. I don't know why he retired. That just came out of the blue. I remember when it happened, I was like, really? Vance McDonald's retiring? Greg Olsen, another older guy. He seems to have been around forever. It's good that he's finally retiring. We'll have to see what happens with him. Then we have offensive tackle Anthony Costanzo. Costanzo's been a solid tackle for Indianapolis for the past decade. I know he's been dealing with some injuries, so it's not surprising that he's retiring. Then we got the Pouncey brothers. I just want to include them together, Mike and Marquise. You know, the two of them entered the league around the same time, about a decade ago. They both had great careers as centers. It's possible we see them get some consideration for the Hall of Fame. I don't think it's going to happen. But, you know, they definitely left their legacy. They both retired together on the same day. That was nice. Then we have guard Mike Iupeti. You know, Iupeti is one of those guys. You don't hear a lot about guards, so I don't have much to say about him. Kicker Steven Hauschka, he retired in December of 2020, I believe it was, when he announced his retirement. You know, solid kicker. He has some franchise records for teams like Seattle. So, and then, of course, linebacker Thomas Davis Sr., he's been around for a while. He's been a surefire tackler for a while. He was a great, you know, part of that when the Panthers ran that very strong defense with him and Luke Kuechly. They were deadly together, great tackling machines. And then lastly, we have safety Antoine Bethea. I'm not too surprised to see him retire. He didn't play well in 2020. So, yeah. So basically, again, that's to recap the 2021 known NFL retirements. Of note, there are, of course, some no-name players that retired. And then these are the trades as of 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on March 17th. If I missed one, it'll come up in a future video. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Have a good rest of your day.